All right, we're on a tank today because we've got war games on the brain, and the first game we're going to talk about is Contra Shattered Soldier from Konami for the PlayStation 2.
I tell you, I loved Contra growing up in the arcades. It was great. And not only was it one of those great button-twitching, always, you know, kind of freak-out shooting, side-scrolling 2D games.
Right.
But the other great thing about Contra, which they really did well in this version, is it really gave you that whole freak-out thing because the aliens and the monsters were so scary and grotesque looking that you're really were like, kind of freaking you out. They did a great job.
Awesome, yeah, I know. I mean, Konami really defined the sort of scrolling shooter action game a long time ago with this kind of Contra universe that they created, and Contra Shattered Soldier is so true to its roots. Any fan of Contra from the 16-bit era is going to absolutely love this game. What was up with that giant, freaky turtle thing, man?
Well, that freaked me out. At the end of level 1, you have this helicopter which turns into a mech, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, and I can pretty much handle him.
Oh,
and this
big,
grotesque-looking, sick turtle comes down and starts like vomiting at you, and then so you finally—
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, you finally pop his head off.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, I beat it. And then he turns around and he has this big, stinky, pussy, puking pus butt that like vomits out stuff.
You're right, it is.
And he's got a face in his butt, kind of like yours. Oh.
The game starts out with a plane crash, and the guys pop out of the cockpit, and and later on they'll be riding on these sort of hover motorcycles.
You got that hover snowboard thing. I like the fact you can actually hang on missiles, and if you're like running on missiles, you're shooting in other directions.
It's fun doing stuff like that.
You got your two-player thing, so two-player cooperative can hang out.
I'll tell you something, you need 2 players to finish this game because it is tough.
There's 3 basic weapons. There's your auto fire, which is always in all the Contra games.
Yep.
But now there's also a flamethrower and also like a bomb thrower thing.
It's awesome.
And each of those 3 weapons have special weapons. If you hold down the button, they'll charge up and do a super weapon.
Contra Shattered Soldier is a ton of fun. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
And I give it an 8.
Let's talk about Star Wars: The Clone Wars from LucasArts for the GameCube. What'd you think about this one?
Well, finally, a new Star Wars game that deals with the new universe that I actually enjoyed.
What's up with that?
I don't know. It's crazy stuff. The great thing about this is you can get into all sorts of different vehicles, from hovercrafts to walking around with lightsabers to flying devices to even speeder bikes.
It's awesome. They've been working on Star Wars games that sort of deal with all sorts of elements of the universe, but it feels like in this game they've collected everything and given the player a whole wealth of choices. And this is really the first time that I'm playing a Star Wars game and I'm in the battle. I mean, there is so much activity, much more so than in Rogue Squadron 2 and the X-Wing games.
Well, the best part of the game is the fact that when you destroy enemies, pieces actually come off.
Yeah.
In a lot of games, when you hit the enemies, just an explosion happens and they're gone. In this game, parts come flying off, they flip around the environment, and they crash all over the place. You play 3 different characters throughout this game. You got your Mace Windu.
Mace Windu, yeah.
You got your Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, yeah.
And then you got Annie.
Anakin.
Not the Broadway musical. Not the little orphan.
You hate Anakin Skywalker, don't you?
Well, in this game, he's a real turd. I mean,
well, no, come on. He's trying to do some good things. He tries to save Wookiees in this game. You love Wookiees. You love Chewbacca.
Yeah, but I hate Anakin.
All right, fair enough. My favorite part of this game, I got to tell you, and I'm sort of giving you a spoiler here, but there's a scene in the game where you get to race through trees on a speeder bike, just like in Return of the Jedi.
That's one of my only problems in this game, is that all the different ships that you get into, you have to kind of relearn the controls from scratch.
It's a lot more thoughtful, this kind of game, than just a regular blaster, like a shooter thing. You actually have to take control of your teammates in this game, and you actually lead your squad and give them commands. You need them to help you win these battles because they're intense. 2 problems arise from that. It's difficult to tell who the other good guys are on the screen because there's so many ships and things happening, and sometimes there's a little bit of slowdown with all that stuff going on. I thought that was a bit weird to see on the GameCube. Even still, I had a ton of fun playing Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This is a great Star Wars game. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
I give it an 8.
There's a lot more reviews in the run coming up right after this.
Okay, we're back. We're going to talk about Prisoner of War for the Xbox from Codemasters. Now, what'd you think of this one?
Yeah, Prisoner of War is a really unique game, and I really like the idea that you're in jail and you have to kind of escape. It's unique, and this game uses a lot of unique elements. For example, climbing fences, you got looking through peepholes.
The keyhole thing is good, yeah, I like that.
And you have, you can hide under beds and search under beds. Now, the German voiceovers for this game are absolutely horrendous.
Terrible.
You idiot! I should have you shot for this outrage. Do you know who I am? General, I am sorry. Your car, the road, it was my fault entirely.
In Metal Gear Solid, they have those kind of cone things that, to try to get away from
the cone of vision.
Cone radar
right,
vision things, right? And the difference in this game is that once you got recognized in Metal Gear, you pretty much just had to run away until the time ran down.
Because the guards were relentless in that game.
Right. In this, you can kind of like bust in barracks, and if a guy's chasing you and go, oh, shoot, let me hide under that bed and go crawl under the bed.
Because the guards are really stupid in this game.
No, they're not stupid at all. There's a lot of parts where you actually have to take a rock and throw it over, and wherever the rock lands, the guard will turn around. Or if you go around and you can kick and move a barrel, you can move environments.
But the problem for me is that it's so easy to outwit the guards. You can do stupid things like run right past them and run into a building, and they'll completely give up. I think there's lots of great things about the concept, but the graphics are so bland and sort of like off of a comic book page, but not done that well, you know? And the other problem I had with this game, too, is that the character himself isn't that, athletic, He feels a little bit clunky.
Climbs fences.
Yeah, but it's so slow and tedious. It would have been very cool to have like an athletic character, like a Mario-style character, or a Lara Croft or somebody that could actually move and do these things a lot better.
So you want Mario trapped in a World War II German prison camp?
No, I don't want Mario trapped in a German prison camp, but I want somebody that controls like Mario. I want somebody that actually can jump over these things and move fluidly and quickly. You just don't get that with this guy.
I mean, I can understand why you don't like this game. I'm not going to disagree with you saying it's a great game.
Worst of all, though,
but I like this game. I'm giving it a 7.5.
I didn't like Prisoner of War mostly because it was not fun being a prisoner. It was just too routine and a drag.
Too bad.
4.5.
It's not fun being Rayman either.
No, I like being Rayman. I like being Rayman a lot more than this guy. All right, we're going to talk about another World War II game. This one's called BattleField 1942 from EA Games for the PC. What'd you think of this one?
Well, I got to be honest. This is actually an interesting one because the people who are into multiplayer online gaming are really gonna love this game.
Well, there's been lots of hype about this thing.
It's one of the best World War II military simulator multiplayer games ever to date.
Right.
The graphics look incredible.
Yep.
It's really well done. I gotta say off the top, it's more of an arcade style game than a simulation.
Yeah.
Now, my biggest problem is that I'm really not into the multiplayer online experience like a lot of people.
No, and most people are.
And that's where Battlefield 1942 really kind of falls down.
All right,
because the single player mode is bad. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
The artificial intelligence on the teammates is just non-existent. I mean, you tell them to come with you and they just go in other directions. The best part about this game is the fact that you can get into tons of different vehicles.
That's awesome.
You can go up to a plane, get in it and fly it and do bombing runs. You can swim out to a ship, get on it, control the ship. You can get into tanks.
I also love the environments in the game. You got battles in Africa, in the Pacific, in Europe. I mean, the environments look fantastic in this thing. It's a very ambitious game. For the fact that it has all of these vehicles in there and people are playing against each other and people are doing anti-aircraft against aircraft, that is an amazing accomplishment, but you do concede some things. You have to have a powerful system, first of all, to be able to run this game system.
Especially in single-player mode. Multiplayer mode runs better than single-player mode.
Yes. There is lag on the internet, especially when you've got a lot of different people and people have different pings.
I liked it. I appreciate it. I'm just more of a single-player guy than a multiplayer guy. So because of that...
You like Medal of Honor better than this kind of game.
Absolutely. I'm going to give it an 8.
I just looked at the single player as my training missions to get familiar with the game. The multiplayer is where it's at. This game rocks. 9.5 out of 10. Here's a recap on our reviews, including scores from Electronic Gaming Monthly and Computer Gaming World. Visit our website at www.electplay.com, or if you're mobile, wap.electplay.com. Well, that's it for the show. We'll see you guys next week on Electric Playground. I was going to say, man, you're looking great today. These are really awesome clothes.
Got these from my grandma.
From your grandma?
Well, no, these are hers.
Those are your grandma's.
Oh, she wears army boots, too.
Production assistance for Electric Playground is provided by Sony, publishers of SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs for PlayStation 2, and Xbox, publishers of Quantum Redshift for the Xbox.
Action.
You know, everybody's been jumping on the whole extreme sports bandwagon lately. I mean, they've done everything now. There's skateboarding, there's inline skating, surfing, pro wakeboarding. Whoops.
And action.